All right, I've done a lot of videos on like politics and stuff, but it's interesting because one musician kind of like intertwines with all this politics, and I kind of want to do a video about him because Tupac really was probably one of the greatest, I'd say the greatest rapper ever, and one of the greatest musicians and artists ever. I really believe that what he did for our country is something that should be really respected, and he should really be recognized more. And the thing about Tupac is that I remember growing up in the '90s, and I wasn't really influenced by him really when I was younger. It wasn't until I got older and I started looking on my own, going on the internet, listening to some of his old songs and stuff. That I was like, wow, this man was a genius. All right, because when I was, first, influenced by Tupac, shown what he was, I was shown a totally different image. I mean, first off the bat, his name. All right, his name is Tupac. Okay, I was watching an interview and he was so cool because he was like, the way to remember my name is to take the first part, two, like the number two, and then you have the next part, which is Pac, like pocket, and you'll never forget. And he's right. All right, I remember all the news people were saying, oh, Tupac, Tupac. No, it's Tupac. It's like almost like they're trying to disrespect him. And then it got really weird is that anytime something about him was brought up, we didn't actually talk about him or his message. It turned into this kind of like vague description of like gangster rap. Gangster rap's bad. Okay, gangster rap can be bad, but let's talk about Tupac now for a change. What's he doing, It's like instead of fighting Tupac, they were actually just fighting an image. And you talk a little bit more about like, what exactly he stood for. Like Thug Life. When I heard Thug Life, everyone was like, oh, he's talking about shooting people up and being a gangster. And no, it actually means something. All right, it's the hatred you give little infants, expletive, everyone. And then like, it was really cool because, he created this term. It was, never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. And I would be proud if someone was to, describe me as being someone who could, by the term, never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. All right. And I thought that was really cool how he did that. And of course, by that I mean, you got to write the letters out and see what it actually says. He was taking words and using them to benefit himself. It was pretty cool. And the thing about Tupac is that, you listen to his songs, every one of his damn songs, it sounds like he wrote it yesterday. It sounds like he's sitting right now watching the news and he's describing what's going on in our country. And this is back in the 1990s. Dave Chappelle did that little skit. I wrote this back in 1994 because all the songs seemed like they were written yesterday. And just the things he was talking about in his songs are things we don't hear in rap and hip hop and all this other pop culture music nowadays. When he wrote something, it was like here's the actual problem. These are the problems we're dealing with in our country, and no one's addressing them. Now you hear all this stuff, and anytime it's a political based, like rap song, it's always vote for this candidate in this year or vote for this party. It's not about the actual problem. It's about like almost like propaganda for somebody. Tupac, I mean, he was just like really honest, and and you watch his interviews and the things he's talking about politics. How no one's listening to the people who really need it. How can these people have so much and then still say that they're for the common man, and everything like that. Just like it's amazing because the things he starts talking about, especially when he gets into like war and like even the drug war. I mean, Tupac had a certain audience, and he did made a lot of his songs, in the vision of the African American community, but he transferred over into everyone. It started off with maybe people, let's say, who were a little down and out, but then people in general could start relating to the things he was talking about. It was really neat because, it seemed like, he really could have been, a person who started another political party or started a whole new concept in politics. And it's really sad, he passed away or, however you look at that, and if he passed away or he's still alive, whatever it is. But, the thing about Tupac is that, it's funny because a lot of times when I'm in a difficult moral situation, I always think, what would Jesus do? But a lot of times now I'm also thinking after that, what would Tupac do? A lot of times I see people who need help, and I don't worry about, here's the money, pay me back if you want, if you don't, who cares, if it's like little things like that, help my friends out, because, like, you're never going to go anywhere unless you share with one another, you know what I mean? Like he said, we got to start helping one another. This constant hatred we have towards one another needs to go away. Because there's people out there who want to get rid of us all. We can't pretend that we're part of that big, cool club because we're not. There's people out there kind of, in a way, conspiring against us, because they're in a different class or they just brought up a different fashion. But that's a totally different topic. But, I mean, it's like Tupac, he was a really good man. He was a real artist. I mean, I can go on YouTube and, even just listening to some of his songs. I mean, so many of them are just, like, so relevant to what we're facing today. he talks about everything, and just like even when I was growing up, and I was just like seeing certain things happen in my life, and it's like this is kind of what I wanted. This is kind of really how I wanted to go in the world. It's like are my dreams really coming true? Because I look at the world and it's not as bright as cheery as I really thought it was when I was growing up. And that's the thing. He said that a lot of times the world has changed from when I was growing up. It's a lot different now. It's a lot darker, a lot scarier for young kids. They have so much stuff being pushed upon them. He like predicted it all. It's just like I don't know. I guess I could just describe it here. Tupac was a great musician, and many people out there may be kind of discouraged from listening to his music. But if you're interested in politics, you're interested in just facing with the struggles that our society is going through, listen to Tupac. There's days I have a hard day at work. I come home, put on a Tupac song, and it's like he knows what I'm talking about. It's like it's a good thing to know you have someone kind of helping you out. So that's all I gotta say. Take care.